Now I will turn this over to Ranking Member Senator Kennedy for his opening remarks.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to thank Senator Warren for calling this hearing. I want to thank all of you for being here. I know you're busy. We have several things going on this afternoon, so I may be in and out, but I want to stay as long as I can to hear your testimony. Let me make a couple of points. Number one, it is unthinkable to me that the United States Congress will not extend the debt limit. I can tell you the United States, this United States senator will not vote to default on America's debt. Now, we have a lot of it, but there's a moral principle involved and a practical principle involved. And if you're going to have a party, you got to pay the band. And it's time for us to pay the band, and we're going to do it. However, I think you will see some of us, including but not limited to the House Republicans, use this as an opportunity to talk about our rate of growth in spending and to talk about the rate of growth in our debt accumulation. And that's not unusual. Every time we have one of these disagreements in divided government over the debt ceiling and extending it, A, the debt ceiling's always extended, and B, there are always negotiations. So why is it important for the president and the Congress to sit down and talk about it? Well, a couple reasons. I think many economists today are Keynesians, and as we all know, Dr. Keynes talked about the importance of deficit spending in government when you're in a recession, like the recession we had during the pandemic. The importance of government deficit spending to stimulate the economy, and it works. But some economists leave out the second part of what Dr. Keynes said. He said, when the recession's over, you pay the money back. And that's kind of an important part of the equation. So that's point two. Point three, why is it important that we have this discussion? The chair and I had a hearing this morning, and other senators with Chairman Jay Powell. And he's being cast to be very careful in his answers. I understand that. But here, in my opinion, is what's going on at the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is raising the federal funds rate. Why is it doing that? It's trying to slow the economy. What does that mean? Well, it means the Fed is trying to lower GDP. But how do you measure that? How do you measure success in cooling the economy? Chairman Powell wants to talk about the nexus between supply and demand. I understand why he talks like that, but here's what's going on. You measure you measure the effect of interest rates and rising interest rates and unemployment. Okay, that's what it means when you cool the economy. The job of the Fed to curtail inflation is to put people out of work. That's its job. And I am convinced that the Federal Reserve is going to do that. Now, Chairman Powell is not trying to reduce prices. We're going to live with these new high prices a long time. He's trying to achieve disinflation, which means a reduction in the rate of growth of inflation. Since the 1950s, we've had 10 periods where we had to work for disinflation. We had inflation was too high, we wanted to get it down. In every instance where we were able to achieve disinflation, we did it by raising unemployment. And the average over a 50-year period, to reduce inflation by 2%, you had to increase unemployment by 3.6%. Now, today, inflation is 6.4%. The unemployment rate is, 3.4%. So, based on history, in order to get inflation down to 2%, you can do the math. Chairman Powell, if he acts on his own, just using monetary policy, will have to raise rates to 10.6%. And that's going to put a lot of people out of the work. I believe, and I think history demonstrates this as well, that I know we can put fewer people out of work if Congress works with Chairman Powell on the fiscal side. Powell's in charge of monetary policy. Congress is in charge of fiscal policy. And I believe, as much as I'm sitting here, that if we can slow the rate of growth in spending and debt accumulation to stimulate the economy less, that's going to save a lot of people's jobs. And I guess the final point I'd make, Madam Chair, I don't believe this Federal Reserve is going to go down in history as the Federal Reserve that let inflation beat them. I don't. I think Chairman Powell is serious as 4 heart attacks and a stroke. And if he's got to raise those rates to 10.6%, he denies he might have to go that high, but history's not in his favor. He's going to do it. And that's going to hurt millions of Americans, as the chairwoman said, put people out of work. Congress can save a lot of those jobs if we act on the fiscal side. Thank you, Madam Chair.